Yesterday, the GOP-led House Foreign Affairs Committee released their report on the United States' withdrawal from Afghanistan. The report, spearheaded by Committee Chair Michael McFaul, accuses the Biden administration of misleading the American public throughout the withdrawal process. The White House has pushed back on that assertion, with spokesperson Sharon Yang stating that the report is, quote, based on cherry-picked facts, inaccurate characterizations, and pre-existing biases. Joining us now, former senior advisor to President George W. Bush, retired four-star United States Navy Admiral Steve Abbott. He's part of a group of former senior military officials who today are announcing their endorsement of Vice President Harris over Donald Trump, in part because of the Trump administration's handling of Afghanistan. And I think I'll start by reading a little bit about that explanation from the letter. You discuss his actions, Donald Trump's actions in Afghanistan when he was president. And you write in part, quote, without involving the Afghan government, Trump and his administration negotiated a deal with the Taliban that freed 5,000 Taliban fighters and allowed them to return to the battlefield. Then he left President Biden and Vice President Harris with no plans to execute a withdrawal and with little time to do so. This chaotic approach severely hindered the Biden-Harris administration's ability to execute the most orderly withdrawal possible and put our service members and our allies at risk. Nevertheless, President Biden, with the support of Vice President Harris, ended America's longest war, oversaw the largest airlift in U.S. history, and brought our troops home. Our service members and their loved ones deserve a president with the temperament and track record to serve as commander-in-chief, one who is willing to make tough decisions, who takes accountability, and who always has our back. That leader is Kamala Harris. If I could, Admiral Abbott, ask you, what were some of the other factors that led for you to join in this letter and publicly endorse Kamala Harris?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm grateful to be here. We do believe that Kamala Harris is the right person to be the next president of the United States and to be the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. She's had the preparation that she needs, the experience that she needs with her time in the Senate, especially on the Senate Intelligence Committee. She's traveled extensively, interacted with leaders around the world in many, many countries, and she has been with President Biden for 3.5 years in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room dealing with national security issues. And so she has the experience that she needs. She's been a strong proponent of our position with respect to the Ukraine, support of Ukraine against the Russian invasion. She has worked to strengthen NATO, make NATO larger and more effective than it's ever been. And she understands our strategic concerns in the Indo-Pacific, in South America, in Africa, and all of the regions of the world. She's well positioned to take on the responsibilities as president and commander-in-chief.
As it pertains to Ukraine and NATO and Russia and the Indo-Pacific, does Donald Trump understand your concerns?
Well, Donald Trump, frankly, is unfit to be the president of the United States. I know at the top of your show you mentioned Vice President Cheney, who asked me to come to the White House to work on a study for him in the summer of 2001. And he said the same thing. Donald Trump is indeed not fit to be the president of the United States. I believe he's not a disaster waiting to happen. He's a disaster which has already happened. And he puts the country at substantial risk.
Can you talk about the different frontiers in which he puts the country at risk? Are you talking about with our national intelligence? Are you talking about with our classified information? Are you talking about dealing with the two hot wars that President Biden is dealing with right now? His cozying up to dictators? What does that amount to for you?
I think that that's a good place to start. Trump has been a pal of dictators and autocrats, Vladimir Lenin, Xi Jinping, Viktor Orban, said that Vladimir Putin was a genius and could do what he liked with some of our NATO allies. He's worked to weaken NATO steadily, and we worry about what he would do in a second administration. He's also an isolationist. Believes that our country can go it alone. John Bolton, who was a national security advisor for him, wrote that he has caused there to develop an isolationist virus in the Republican Party. I think that's true. And I know from my own experience in the military that it doesn't make sense to go it alone. If you're going to fight, you need to have your allies flying, steaming, and fighting alongside you. It's not the right path for the United States.